the blog All India Radio Houston. So please visit
I'm just kidding.
YouTube and look for our blog All India Radio Houston. There you can watch the
Yeah, I was
previous
pulling that record this
interviews
morning, and it's,
and
it was
other
fascinating to see
interesting
the
clips. We have more than 300 videos covering various aspects of Indian experience here in Houston and from around the world. So please visit YouTube and subscribe to All India Radio Houston page so we can keep you updated as to the latest additions to our video blog.
Sure. Oh, I apologize.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to NIKAM Network Talk Show. We are talking about escalating property taxes in the Fort Bend County area and what we as individuals can do and what we need to know. I think more importantly, I think we need to educate ourselves, number one. Number two, I think we have to act collectively.
Absolutely.
And number three, we need to know who are the people responsible. From what I saw with your protests and the news media clips and interviews with the White House and all this, it looked like the responsibilities were being passed on or pointing fingers.
He did it.
And in fact, I was looking at your Fort Bend protest Facebook page, and we had a letter from John Zerwas, who is a state representative from the Fort Bend County area. He said his property was also equally affected. Maybe if you have read it, maybe you can comment on that one.
Yeah, well, I mean, he did. You've got. I mean, a politician is a politician is a politician. They're not going to stand there and they're doing their best to walk that right in the middle of the road. To support you, but then to not support you, to not get involved. Don't get active with it. That's too much support, and I don't need that in my life. That's too much trouble. But I want your vote later down the road. So everybody's kind of walking that same. His letter basically said he put the burden of responsibility back into the lap of the county.
Yeah.
Of course, he's a state representative. Am I going to say you're right? I've got a lot of. I can own some of that. That's I could fight a little harder for it. I could work this. I could work that. I could socialize and run in those circles. So try to work towards change. I mean, he's not going to do that. And I don't know if I would do it, to be completely honest myself, because that's taking on a lot. Then you're going to have everybody, coming to you.
But then, how do we find out? As who is responsible? I mean, who do we hold accountable? Because there's no point in us going as individuals and fighting, because we know it's a losing battle.
At the end of the day, we are all accountable.
Unless we collectively go and say, okay, like if you are raising federal income tax, you go after Obama or somebody. I mean, I'm just giving an example.
Well, Nick, I mean, like Varix, excuse me, that's my husband. As Aaron just mentioned, at the end of the day, who's accountable?
Yeah.
10%, that is state. That 10% cap, that is state right there. They hold the power to ultimately change that, to reduce that down to something more manageable like 5%.
And it needs to be changed.
It needs to be changed drastically.
We don't even have an inflation of 10%.
Exactly.
Well, your average pay increase for 2015 will be 3%. And most people won't see that.
So when you're not generating more money, how the hell can you pay more property tax?
Well, that's exactly right, and that's the problem. I mean, people are not walking, talking algorithms, and our government has ceased to see us as people we are struggling. And Nick, I'm not going to sit here and feed a load of bull and say I am personally financially struggling and living check by check. No, we've worked hard and we're very blessed. Nor are we by any means, at the very top of the food chain. But we can pay our taxes. But so many cannot. So exactly, even they can't. There's the $100 extra that is required every year with the government to snap their fingers, crunch into it, run it through a computer, spits out Joe Smith over here now owes, this additional per month. It's not even considered the thought that he cannot pay. We're talking about 90-year-old residents of Fort Bend County that have lived in their 1930s home for the last 60, 80 years, are looking that they're going to have to sell it and then go rent somewhere with money they don't have to pay every month.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's absolutely.
And you've got some private equity firm who's probably ready to snatch up that house and convert it to a single-family rental. That's the sad part.
Yeah. I mean, there's no the humanity, the lack of humanity is lost.
Amen.
On our state
Amen.
right now.
You hit the nail on the head right there.
Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 1050 KCH in Houston, Texas. If you'd like to join in the conversation, the number to call here is 281-745-4161. We are talking about escalating Fort Bend County property valuations and taxes and what we can do about it. So let's continue with this conversation that we are having. Obviously, we don't know who is the ultimate person we can go and talk to and say, okay, or elect the next person who can be more responsive to the Fort Bend County residents, because as you said, we can't be paying 10% raise every year to the state just because they want to meet a certain budget or something.
Exactly.
Yeah, and I've said this before, and this property tax system that we currently have, I think, is a good example here in Texas of the best government money can buy. Okay, if you're familiar with what happened in Citizens United, basically, granting corporations the same rights as citizens. Yeah. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what the end result of that looks like, and we are seeing some of the fruits of that labor here in the Texas property tax system.
And I know you emailed me some charts from lawsuits that were filed against the Fort Bend appraisal district by big businesses, I should say,
sure,
which have the money and the resources to hire the best law firm and all this. And they have been extremely successful in reducing. Maybe you can go through some of those numbers to educate our people. And if they are able to do these things, my question is, that means that property was not worth what the
this
to begin with.
This I say is an issue with as far as the CAD's claim of uniform and equal appraisal.
Yeah.
The actual end results don't necessarily look that. They don't necessarily validate those claims, because I've got my hands on here just the 2014 settled suits. There are another 360 some odd files that I'm still waiting to get my hands on, okay, to get the original notice values. But just for these settled cases, I averaged out the reduction that was received from these owners. Okay, and this is just for fiscal 2014 suits.
Yeah.
Average reduction was 17.93%. Okay, is the typical residential homeowner going to get that reduction from notice value?
No.
Not even close.
So this is unfair.
Exactly.
Blatantly, it's
Blatantly
in
unfair.
the face unfair. That's what it burns me up that they can get away with this.
And that's why I say it's an illusion
so
of due
sad,
process.
because, as you said, you're quoting a Medicare patient who is just retired, who's trying to salvage his house and trying to pay for medications for doctors. And I had to plug that in because I'm a doctor. I mean, I see that from both sides. Because sometimes they have to decide between medications versus meals.
Sure. Well, you've got the same thing with the pharmaceutical industry.
Yeah.
I mean, they're buying up other companies so that they can jack up the premium for that particular prescription. I mean, it's absurd.
And the very people who need this most are just totally neglected, or we don't have the resources to go and fight the system.
Yep. And that's why I say it's going to
Absolutely.
take a concerted effort for folks to actually get involved. And kudos to Allison for getting this thing started.
Thank you.
I mean, I had actually just driven out to the Fort Bend Central Appraisal District on that particular day when she was in the midst of her protest, and I was like, hallelujah, thank God.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to 1050 KCH in Houston, Texas. I am Dr. Nick Nikam, and this is Nick Nikam Network Talk Show. We're going to take a little break, and we'll come back and we'll see what we need to do collectively to address this issue on a long-term basis, because individual protests and they may work, they may not work, but we know the businesses can get what they want, but we are individuals. We are still living in the houses in Fort Bend County. Let's take a little break, and we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, please visit All India Radio Facebook page and like it. Here we bring you news, information, calendar of events, and interesting stories from around the world, round the clock. So please visit All India Radio Houston page on Facebook and like it. Thank you. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are listening to 1050 KCH in Houston, Texas. I am Dr. Nick Nikam, and we are talking about escalating property taxes and property evaluations, which has been affecting practically every individual living in the Fort Bend County. Okay, let's talk about, Allison, maybe you can give us a little rundown as what can we collectively as individuals do from this point onward. We got 5 more minutes.
Okay, and I know there's so much that Aaron can add to this, but just to start right now, I cannot say it enough. If you are online, if you have internet access, go to Facebook, and if you're not on Facebook, I'm even willing to give out my email, my work email address, and I'll give that as well. But go to Facebook and search up FBC Appraisal District Protest, and like the page, and send a message through there saying, I'd like to be a part of it. That way you can get on the email blast.
Yeah.
I don't reveal the protest date on there because I'm really reluctant and hesitant to give the appraisal district, the Fort Bend County, the CAD office, notice of when we're showing up. I really like the sneak attack. And let's say, for example, we got 1,000 people on board that were going to come down there. I don't know the law. I'm not a lawyer, and nor do I pretend to be one. I don't know if there's a certain head count that they're looking at that they can call Rosenberg Police Department to push us outside the boundaries where it's cut off before it even starts.
I see,
And I don't want Mr. Whitehead to have a chance to really prepare a new statement or something of the kind, because hopefully when we show up, media comes with us. So like the page, submit your email address. You can do that privately so everyone doesn't see that. And I will add you to our quote-unquote roster. If you don't have access to Facebook, or you're not on Facebook, but you do have internet access, my email is Allison, ALLISON that's WALLA, at Delta, DELTA, Refractories, REFRACTORIES.com. And then I can also take your email from there and put you on our distribution list, if you will. Write your state representatives. If you flood their boxes, again, always, there is strength in numbers, bottom line. If you flood, there's supposed to be the voice of the people.
That's
well,
right.
hit them with our voice. Let that voice echo so loudly that they can no longer turn a blind ear to it.
So until they cannot ignore it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think the state representatives can just sit there and say, well, this is a county issue, it's a Fort Bend County.
Oh, no, it's a statewide issue.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And speaking of that, on my to-do list, because again, I'm trying to live while doing all of this, and it's taking up so much time, but I'm not complaining, happy to do it. But on my to-do list is I would like to get a quote-unquote protest leader in as many counties throughout Texas, someone who does, honestly, a part of what I'm doing is purposefully keeping people riled up. Where there's anger, there's movement.
A big part of it is educating the people and making people become proactive.
Sure. Absolutely.
Like I said, get involved.
We take action, and nobody's going to come
Sure.
and,
Get involved. Start giving a damn. Seriously, start giving a damn, and start looking into how your central appraisal district actually operates. Start filing open records requests. Get your hands on the ARB values. Get your hands on the suits data. Okay. Find out what property is being abated. This is another issue that I didn't mention previously. I mean, you have property throughout the county, this Harris, Fort Bend, either one, where the value is reduced right off the top, taken off the appraisal rolls completely, okay, for some of these, I would call them systemically important companies, okay? So that's before an appraisal is even issued. So educate yourself on how the system works, who it benefits. There's a phrase I use. It's called cui bono, who benefits. Find out who is benefiting from the system.
Well, Allison and Aaron, it's been a pleasure talking to you. 45 minutes just went by like lightning. This is a hot topic. For not just us, but for every individual in the Fort Bend County, including all these big businesses. And I think it's about time for all us to get educated, number one, and really we need to approach all our state representatives and say, you can't be raising taxes 10% every year. This is absurd.
Yeah, because the reality is our paychecks, our actual income is not increasing by the same amount.
No.
I wish it were, but it's not.
Maybe we'll come back again, in a few weeks and see, we need to make some progress and maybe come up with a standard email that everybody can send it to their state representatives. The more voices they hear, then they realize that, hey, this is a major concern. It's not Fort Bend County alone, because some of these law firms represent every county in the state, so this is a statewide problem.
Yeah, and Nick, real quick, because a lot of people don't know where to go again. So it's so simple. If you get on any search engine, type in Fort Bend County, Texas, Fort Bend County State Representatives. It will give you a list of everybody, and right there, you click on that link, it takes you directly to where you could copy and paste the same email if you would like, over and over. So it's really easy, just for those who don't know.
I think, okay. Thank you very much,
Pleasure.
Aaron.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Nick.